CBS News political director Steve Chaggaris is in Washington. He joins us now. Steve, Reince Priebus described this as a nothing burger. Is it a nothing burger or a hot dog with everything?
I don't think there's a nothing burger. There are ever any nothing burgers anymore, especially when there's a special counsel investigating this stuff and there are congressional committees investigating this stuff as well. It is a something burger. I'm not sure it's filled with chili and onions and whatever else you want to throw on that burger. But there's something going on here, and I think people are going to be asking a lot of questions. I mean, first of all, you have Republican Senator Susan Collins coming out and saying that she thinks that Trump Jr. should testify in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee now. He's the fourth person in the Trump orbit who really wasn't totally forthcoming about his connections or his contacts with people who had connections to Russia. You add him to Mike Flynn, to Jeff Sessions, to Jared Kushner, and there are a lot of questions that a lot of people have about the Trump campaign and their connections to people who had contacts with Russia.
And in this particular case, Donald Trump Jr. offered wandering explanations for what that meeting was about at Trump Tower in June with this Russian lawyer in question. Does the changing of the story or the omission of certain facts on one day and then their inclusion on the next make this particularly troubling politically?
Well, it definitely raises suspicions among people who are already highly suspicious of what went on between the Trump campaign and Russian officials. But I do think it leaves a lot of questions unanswered. And I think this is where you're going to see people like Bob Mueller, the special counsel, and the congressional committees really try to get to the bottom of it. Well, first of all, what did Donald Trump Jr. know about the setup of this meeting? Did he know, for instance, from the very beginning that this woman had claimed to have information about Hillary Clinton and the DNC? That's not clear from the statements from Trump. I think they would want to talk to this woman. Did she just use that sort of dangling of the bait that she might have information to get a sit down with Trump Jr. and others in the Trump orbit to talk about her pet issue, which was this adoption issue that she wanted to talk to them about? So, and thirdly, frankly, can you tie the president to this in any way? Donald Trump Jr. said you can't, but that's a question that's going to be asked as well. Those questions are left unanswered by even after the statements that Trump Jr. put out there.
And speaking of the president, he appears to be backing away from a plan to form a cybersecurity unit with the Russians after receiving intense criticism from people on both sides of the aisle. What do you make of the idea of this cyber unit and then the backing off of it, apparent backing off of it from the president?
Yeah, it just seems to be another sort of half-baked idea that the president put out there, and then once he got criticism, especially from people within his own party, and it wasn't just criticism, it was ridicule from some people within the Republican Party, then you saw the president back off on it. I think it's another example, too, of the president really showing that he wants to try to work something out with Putin, try to change that relationship, reset the relationship. It seemed like this is the wrong place to go, though, especially with all the questions swirling around first of all, the questions swirling around the Russia hacking in the 2016 election, and then the questions around Trump's campaign's potential involvement in that.
And let's take a walk over to Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are back following their July 4th recess. Top of the agenda for the Republicans in the Senate, of course, is going to be passing health care reform. Where does that stand right now?
Well, it's worse. It's in a worse place now than it was before they went on break 10 days ago. There are now 10 Republican senators who have said that they won't support the bill that's out there, and 4 others who have raised concerns. Keep in mind, the Republicans can only lose 2 votes on this if they want to pass a bill with just Republican support. So they are further away from their goal than they were when they left, which is something I think that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell anticipated, which is why he wanted to try to get a vote on this thing earlier rather than later. So now they're scrambling. They're conservative members who are trying to come up with their own ideas to woo the conservatives are on the fence. But the problem is, these folks went home, they heard from their voters and their constituents, and they came out and said, they don't like what they're hearing, they don't like what they're seeing, and we can't support this. And the more and more you hear that, the less and less likely this thing is going to come to a conclusion in which the Republicans are going to support a bill.
So 10 Republicans publicly opposed the legislation as written. Here's a crazy idea. Does Mitch McConnell go across the aisle and bring some Democrats over? Is that possible?
Well, it's not going to be with this bill if that's the case, and they would have to start from scratch and come up with another idea that the Democrats would sign on to. The question is this: so what kind of coalition do you get together for a bill? You get moderate Republicans, you get some Democrats, and maybe you pass something through the Senate. Then what happens? How are you going to get that through the House? The House passed their own version of the bill with only Republican support, with one extra vote to spare. And where does it go after that? And the other question is this: what do you say to conservative Republicans who have been campaigning for the last 7 years on the fact that they're going to repeal Obamacare? You come out with a health care bill that does not do that. What do those folks go back and say to their constituents who do want to see Obamacare repealed? So it puts the Republicans in a unique situation, and I'm not sure if they're going to go that route. They may go that route, and if they do, they're going to have still some political problems to deal with afterwards.
And of course, in the middle of all this, they've got to somehow pass a budget as well. There's some pressure there. What can you tell us about that process?
Slow going, as it normally is. I think even more so. Part of this is, Congress wants to get, or Republicans in Congress want to pass some sort of budget resolution early to really set the framework for whatever tax reform they want to do down the road. That is going really slowly. That's the first step. But even if they don't do that, you're talking about a deadline of September 30th before the funding runs out for the government, which happens every year. And this budget process hasn't really worked very smoothly in recent years, and we're not seeing it work very smoothly as of now either. So this could be the type of situation where we might be in September again, second week in September, talking about a potential shutdown. There's also a looming debt ceiling deadline that Congress has to deal with, which is part of all of this as well. Again, could contribute to a potential government shutdown. Something we're going to keep a close eye on, not right now, but definitely the closer we get to September 30th.
All right, Steve Chaggaris, our wise head in Washington. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony.